Kind of immigrants that you do want to see in America?
Well, they certainly contribute. Yeah, I want to see people. Yeah, I want to see people that contribute. I don't want to see Somalia. I don't want to see a woman that marries her brother to get in and then becomes a congressman, does nothing but complain. All she does is complain, 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 and yet her country's a mess. It's one of the worst in the world. Let her go back, fix up her own country. Somalia, yeah, and I was right about it. I started complaining about Somalia long before the scandal. The horrible things they're doing to Minnesota, it's incredible. They have an incompetent governor there too. The Democrats are running some bad ships.
Speaking of ships.
Hello, Patriots. Welcome back to Harlan Reports. I am Harlan, your voice for truth, your brother in the battle for the soul of this nation. Thank you for inviting me into your living rooms today. We have a story breaking right this second that is going to change everything. This is the top story, the only story that matters today. It is the moment we have been waiting for, praying for, and fighting for. The news coming out of Washington, D.C. is so big, so heavy with history, that I honestly have goosebumps just sitting here. We are watching the America First agenda win in real time. We are watching President Donald J. Trump deliver on his biggest promises. So please gather your family, call your neighbors.
Well, now investigators are tracking the web of fraud to other Minnesota Democrats, such as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Many of the suspects linked to the scheme live in her district, including a restaurant owner who hosted events for her. He has since been convicted of stealing $12 million in COVID funds.
I mean, I have no worry. I don't know how they take away my citizenship and deport me, but I don't even know why that's such a scary threat. I'm not the 8-year-old who escaped war anymore. I'm grown. My kids are grown. I can go live wherever I want.
You need to hear. Folks, this is Harlan here, your voice for truth and America First. Coming to you live on this historic day, December 28, 2025. Grab your coffee, sit down, and listen close because something massive is unfolding right now in our nation's capital. I have to be honest with you. My hands are shaking a little bit as I hold these papers. I have covered elections, wars, and scandals, but I have never, ever felt an energy like this. The House of Representatives has just taken a bold, long overdue step toward holding one of the most divisive figures in Congress accountable. We are talking about the push to expel Representative Ilhan Omar from her seat. And yes, the conversation is heating up fast about stripping her citizenship and starting the deportation process. I want you to let that sink in for a moment. Just close your eyes and imagine it. For years, we watched our beautiful country get mocked. We watched politicians who do not seem to love America take power and criticize everything we hold dear. We felt like strangers in our own home. But today the sun is shining a little brighter. This isn't some rumor or clickbait headline. This is real, it's happening, and it's a direct result of President Donald Trump's unbreakable leadership and the America First movement we've all fought for. The reports coming into the studio are absolutely stunning. The marble halls of Congress are usually quiet and stuffy, but right now, they are buzzing with the sound of justice. It is the sound of promises being kept. Patriotic Republicans are standing tall, chests out, heads high. They are led by strong voices like Representative Randy, I'm from Florida, who has been fighting tooth and nail to make this happen. They aren't backing down anymore. They aren't apologizing. I am looking at the monitor right now, and I can see the emotion on the faces of the people outside the Capitol. People are crying. Folks, they are hugging each other, draped in American flags, weeping tears of pure relief. It is like a heavy weight has finally been lifted off the shoulders of this great nation. We are seeing the beginning of a new era, where loving your country is the most important rule of all. President Trump is back in the White House, and because of him, we are finally seeing what it looks like when America stands up for itself. This vote today is not just about one person. It is a signal to the world that the United States is back. My heart is so full right now, and I know yours is too. We are witnessing history, and it is beautiful.
Yes, please.
Jasmine Crockett recently.
Jasmine Crockett. Remember what I said? Is she a relation to the late, great Davy Crockett? I don't think so. Jasmine Crockett, let me tell you, before you even ask, she's a very low IQ person. I mean, if we ever had to pass an aptitude test, that's the one should take one because she shouldn't even be in the crowd. So I have no idea what you're going to, but I don't think we should waste our time. This is a low IQ person who I can't even believe is a congressperson. between her and Ilhan Omar and the group. You know, I met the head of Somalia. Did you know that? And I suggested that maybe he'd like to take her back, and he didn't want her. He said, "I don't want her." Okay, what else? Go ahead. Let's hear what Crockett said. Go ahead.
She compared ICE raids to slave patrol. I want to ask you.
To slave?
To slave patrol. I want to ask you if you think that there should be consequences for members of Congress who make these types of comparisons or use this as language.
Well, I think she's gone over the line, and I think a lot of the people. Look, the Democrats have become radical left lunatics. They have policies that nobody's going to buy. And, you know, I see what's going on in New York. We're going to have perhaps a communist mayor because it's split up. You know, if the people would get together and have one candidate, they'd have, I think, a pretty good chance. But it looks like maybe they're not going to do that. But we're going to end up with a communist mayor. It's not even believable, my beautiful New York. When I left New York to become president, it was a great place. But it was the beginning of bad things because we had de Blasio had just started as mayor, and I said, this guy's this guy's a real nut job. Went to Harvard to teach management. Can you believe it? He went to Harvard to teach city management along with the mayor of Chicago, who went to Harvard to teach. The two of them are teaching how to manage a city manage it into hell is what they do. But that was the beginning, and now we're going to go a step further. Now we're going with the communists. Can I be honest? I think it's the greatest thing to ever happen to the Republican Party. I really do. I think if a communist takes over New York City, I think that's a gift to the Republican Party. It's sad for New York, but it's a gift. And New York will recover because, you know, sometimes you need a shock like that to straighten you out. But it's politically, it's probably a very good thing.
You know, folks, in my line of work, you hear whispers, you hear rumors in the hallways. But what was presented on the floor of the House today wasn't a whisper. It was a roar. It was the undeniable truth smacking us all in the face, and it left the entire chamber in stunned silence. We aren't just talking about politics here, we are talking about betrayal. We are talking about the kind of evidence that makes your stomach turn because it hits right at home. Right in the wallet of every hard-working American family. As Representative Randy Fine stood there, he didn't just give a speech. He laid out the cold, hard facts about what has been happening in Minnesota. We have heard about the fraud for years, haven't we? The massive welfare schemes, the healthcare scams, the tens of billions of dollars, your dollars being funneled away. But today, a connection was drawn in a straight line to the networks surrounding Representative Omar. It wasn't just numbers on a page anymore. It was real. It was personal. Think about the single mom in Ohio I talked to last week, working 2 jobs just to put food on the table. Terrified she can't afford her daughter's braces. Think about the elderly couple in Arizona, counting pennies to pay for their prescriptions. Now, imagine watching billions of dollars, money that could help them, being siphoned off by Somali-linked networks that laugh at our laws. That is what was exposed today. That is the theft Representative Fine shone a light on. It's not just fraud. It's stealing the future from our children and the security from our seniors. And the reaction from the America First Patriots in that room. It was righteous anger. You could feel it radiating through the screen. They weren't just politicians in that moment. They were fathers, mothers, and citizens who were sick and tired of being taken advantage of. They stood up because they know you were watching. They know you are tired of being told to pay up while others cash out. But here's the part that really gets me. The part that brings a tear to my eye. It wasn't just anger. It was resolve. It was the look on their faces that said, not one more dime, not one more day. It's the spirit of President Trump flowing through the Capitol. He told us this was happening. He warned us. And now, finally, we have men and women brave enough to do something about it. They are fighting for that single mom. They are fighting for that elderly couple. They are fighting for you. And watching them stand tall against this corruption, it makes me prouder to be an American than I have been in a long, long time.
I think she should be impeached. I think she's terrible. Is she originally from Somalia? Yes, sir. So, how are they doing this? How's their government? Do they have a president? Do they have a council? Do they have anything? Do they have police? I love these people that come from a place with nothing. With nothing. No anything. And then they tell us how to run our country. No, I think if she got censured, that's great. If she got impeached, that's even better. They impeached me twice for nothing. And they impeached me knowing the Republicans are on my side, so they knew it was just, but they impeached me. She should be impeached, and it should happen faster.
Well, I agree with the president 100%. Ilhan Omar is a walking example of everything that is wrong with our legal immigration policy. We imported tens of thousands of people who hate America, add no value to it, rob and steal from us. And we're supposed to be okay with it. I don't think Ilhan Omar should be expelled from Congress. I think she should be expelled from the United States. And that's something that I'm working on. But what prompted me to take this position is she decided to send around fundraising emails saying I should be expelled from Congress. Well, if that's her view, she should go for it. And so what I've said is if I'm going to try to expel her, it won't be in a fundraising email. She'll deal with it on the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives.
I want to take a moment right now to talk about who really paid the price for this. We talk about billions of dollars like they're just numbers on a screen, but they aren't. That money represents the sweat and blood of the American worker. It represents the hours you spend away from your families, working overtime, missing baseball games and dance recitals just to pay your taxes because you love this country and you want to do the right thing. While Representative Randy Fine was speaking, I couldn't help but think about a letter I received last month from a veteran named Bill in Wisconsin. Bill served 2 tours overseas. He came home with a bad back and scars you can't see. He told me he was waiting months just to see a doctor at the VA, sitting in a cold waiting room, wondering if his country had forgotten him. He wrote to me and said, "Harlan, I fought for freedom, but I feel like I'm fighting just to survive right here at home." Now, look at what we learned today. While Bill was waiting, while our veterans were suffering, that money meant for our heroes, for our schools, for our roads, was allegedly being shipped out to people who hate us. It was being used to build power for people who want to tear down the very flag Bill fought for. It breaks my heart, folks. It truly does. They took from the best of us to give to the worst of those who wish us harm. It is a betrayal so deep it brings tears to your eyes. But here's the miracle we are witnessing today. For the first time, someone stood up and said no more. This is what President Trump meant when he said he would be our voice. He heard Bill. He heard the single moms. He heard the forgotten men and women of this great land. When he walked back into the White House, he didn't just bring his policies. He brought his heart. He brought a promise that the days of America being a piggy bank for the world are over. As the evidence settled over the chamber, you could feel the shift. The politicians who used to laugh at us, they weren't laughing anymore. They looked small. They looked scared, because they realized that the American people are finally awake, and we have a leader who isn't afraid to fight for the bills of the world. This vote coming up, it is for Bill. It is for every patriot who was told to sit down and shut up. We are standing up now, and we are crying tears of joy because justice is finally coming home.
I have just 20 seconds. I want your thoughts. Ilhan Omar, should she be expelled from Congress? The president said possibly even the country. Looks like there's no record of her being a naturalized U.S. citizen through her father. She might have lied about married the brother. What do you think?
If she's not naturalized citizen in our country, she's ineligible to be in Congress. So yes, she should be removed.
Folks, I want you to picture the scene inside that chamber right now. Usually, when I watch these votes, it is just noise. People are chatting, laughing, making backroom deals while the American people suffer. But today, as the clerk started calling the roll, a hush fell over that room that I have never heard before. It was the sound of the swamp holding its breath. It was the sound of the political elite realizing that their time is up. As the I-vote started lighting up the board, you could feel the energy shift. It wasn't just a vote. It was a verdict. For years, Ilhan Omar and her allies have walked around those halls like they owned the place. They acted untouchable. They thought they could say whatever they wanted about our country, about our Jewish allies, about 9/11s, and never pay a price. They thought they were above the law because the media protected them. But as those green lights flickered on, one by one, that arrogance started to melt away. I'm watching the feed, and I have to tell you, it is emotional. You can see the realization washing over their faces. The squad, who usually make a big show, who usually scream and shout, are sitting there in stunned silence. They are looking around, and for the first time, they aren't seeing submission. They are seeing strength. They are seeing Republicans who have found their backbone, thanks to the courage President Trump gave them. I know many of you watching right now have waited a lifetime for this. You have sat at your kitchen tables, shaking your heads, wondering why our leaders wouldn't defend us. You wondered if the America you grew up in was broke, gone forever. But looking at that voting board, seeing the numbers climb toward justice, I want you to know America is not gone. She was just sleeping, and today she is waking up. The tears are streaming down my face because this is what victory feels like. It isn't a victory of hate. It is a victory of love. Love for our laws, love for our borders, and love for the citizens who play by the rules. We are watching the America First agenda dismantle the old way of doing things, brick by brick. The fear in the eyes of the establishment is real, folks. They know that if they can hold Omar accountable, they can hold anyone accountable, and that terrifies them. But for us, for you and me, it is the most beautiful thing we have ever seen. And then the gavel came down. Bang! That sound echoed through the chamber like a cannon shot. And what happened next? I have never seen anything like it in all my years in Washington. You expect politicians to keep their cool. You expect them to accept the will of the people with some dignity. But the moment that final vote tally flashed on the screen, confirming that the House has moved to expel and stripping those protections, total chaos erupted on the left side of the aisle. Representative Omar, who usually lectures us with such arrogance, completely lost it. The mask fell off. Folks, there was no poise today. There was no slip tuck. She stood up, slamming her papers onto the desk, screaming at the top of her lungs. You couldn't even make out all the words over the shouting. But the anger was visceral. Her allies, the rest of the squad, were rushing around her, pointing fingers at the Republicans, yelling at the speaker, acting like the rules shouldn't apply to them. It was a meltdown. Plain and simple. It was a reaction of someone who has never been told no in her entire life. For years, they have used cries of racism and victimhood as a shield to hide behind. But today, when that shield didn't work, when the facts about the fraud and the betrayal stood stronger than their slogans, they panicked. They are screaming because they are terrified. They are terrified because they know the America First movement isn't just a slogan on a hat. It is a freight train of justice, and it just ran right through their defenses. Watching this tantrum on the floor of the People's House, I felt a mix of shock and deep, deep relief. I realized we aren't watching leaders on that side. We are watching people who think they own this country. And seeing them lose that grip, it brings tears to my eyes. It proves that President Trump was right all along. He told us they would fight dirty when cornered. He told us it would get ugly. But he also told us that if we stood our ground, we would win. And seeing the panic in their eyes today tells me one thing. We are winning. The American people are back in charge. And the days of being bullied by politicians who hate us are over. I want you to shift your eyes away from the screaming and the chaos on the left for a second. I want you to look at the other side of the aisle. Look at the men and women who voted yes. They aren't gloating. They aren't high-fiving or laughing. They are standing there in solemn silence, some with their heads bowed in prayer. That is the difference, folks. That right there is a difference between people who want power and people who love this country. Seeing them stand so strong amidst the noise, it honestly chokes me up. For so long, we felt like the stranger in the room. We were told our love for the flag was wrong. We were told that wanting secure borders made us bad people. We were told to sit down, shut up, and let the experts run the show. But looking at those Patriots standing tall today, unbothered by the tantrums of the squad, I realized something profound. The adults are finally back in the room. I am thinking right now about all the rallies I have been to. I am thinking about the cold nights in Michigan and the rainy days in Pennsylvania where you stood in line for hours just to see President Trump. You didn't do it for fun. You did it because you knew deep in your soul that something was broken and only he could fix it. You took the insults from the media. You lost friends who couldn't understand. You took the arrows just like our president did. And today is your vindication. When that vote passed, it wasn't just a legislative act. It was a thank you note to every single one of you who never gave up hope. It was a message saying that your sacrifice mattered. I have to wipe my eyes because I remember the dark days when we thought we might lose this country forever. I remember the fear that our grandchildren wouldn't know the America we knew. But watching this justice unfold, watching the House finally defend our citizenship, I know that we are going to be okay. The storm was long, Patriots. It was dark and it was scary, but the clouds are breaking apart right now. The sun is coming through, and it is shining on a House of Representatives that finally remembers who they work for. They work for you, they work for America, and they are finally acting like it. As the dust settles on that boat, I want you to take a moment and just listen. Listen past the shouting in the chamber. Listen past the sirens in DC. If you listen with your heart, you can hear something else entirely. You can hear the sound of a nation beginning to heal. It is a quiet sound right now, but it is growing. It is the sound of millions of Americans exhaling for the first time in years, finally believing that their government is actually listening to them. I have been checking my messages during the break, and folks, I am overwhelmed. I have messages from steelworkers in Pennsylvania, from farmers in Iowa, from grandmothers in Florida, and they are all saying the same thing. They are saying, Harlan, I finally feel like this is my country again. One message really broke me down. It was from a man named Tom. He said, I watched my son deploy to defend this country 3 times. I watched him come home and struggle to find work. I watched him wonder if his sacrifice meant anything when he saw our leaders disrespecting the flag he wore on his shoulder. Today, for the first time, I can look him in the eye and say, yes, son, it meant everything. That is what this is about. It isn't about hate. It isn't about revenge. It is about love. It is about loving Tom and his son enough to protect what they fought for. President Trump understands that love better than anyone. He knows that a country without borders, without laws, and without loyalty is not a country at all. He knows that you cannot have a home if you let people come in and tear down the walls, and today, by supporting this move to expel Representative Omar, he is putting the walls back up. He is locking the front door and telling the world that this home, our home, is sacred. It brings me to tears because we came so close to losing it all. We were so close to a point where being a patriot was considered a crime. But look at us now. We are standing tall. We are reclaiming our dignity, and as I watch the sun begin to set over the Capitol, I see it reflecting off the dome, shining like a beacon of hope. It reminds me that America is still the shining city on a hill. We just needed a leader brave enough to polish the gold. And folks, President Trump is making us shine again. The darkness is behind us, and for the first time in a long time, the future looks bright, beautiful, and American. I want to share something personal with you. During the break, I was scrolling through the comments on our live feed, and I saw a message from a woman named Sarah in Pennsylvania. She said, Harlan, I'm crying in my kitchen right now. I lost my job last year because the factory moved away, and I felt so invisible. But watching President Trump fight for us today, it makes me feel like I matter again. Sarah isn't alone. There are millions of Sarahs out there. You might be one of them. You've worked hard your whole life, paid your taxes, raised your kids to respect the flag, and yet, for years, you felt like your own government was laughing at you. You watched as people who broke our laws were allegedly given benefits while you struggled to pay for groceries. You watched politicians like Ilhan Omar criticize the country that gave them everything, while you were told you were wrong for loving it. But today, the forgotten men and women of America are forgotten no more. When that vote passed, it was a message directly to Sarah and to every single one of you. It said, we see you, we hear you, and we are fighting for you. This isn't just about politics, folks. It's about dignity. It's about looking in the mirror and knowing that your citizenship means something. It means you are part of a family, the American family, and in this family, we look out for each other. We don't let people come in and steal from us. We don't let people disrespect our home. President Trump understands this deep in his bones. That's why he fights so hard. He doesn't need this job. He could be relaxing on a golf course somewhere. But he's here, in the trenches, taking the arrows for us because he loves Sarah. He loves you. And seeing him deliver on his promise today, it's the greatest gift he could give us. It's the gift of hope. And let me tell you, hope is a powerful thing. It's what gets us through the hard times. And right now, thanks to President Trump and the brave Republicans in Congress, hope is alive and well in America. I want to take you back for a moment. Do you remember the rallies? Do you remember the freezing cold nights in Wisconsin or the sweltering heat in Arizona? We stood there, shoulder to shoulder, not because we had nothing better to do, but because we believed in a promise. We believed in a man who told us that if we gave him our vote, he would give us our country back. Today, as I watch the news crews pack up and the lights dim in the Capitol, I realize that we are witnessing the fulfillment of that sacred vow. It's not just words anymore, it's action. President Trump didn't just talk about protecting our citizenship. He empowered the people who are actually doing it. He didn't just complain about corruption. He gave the green light to root it out, no matter how loud the swamp creatures screamed. Think about what this means for the future. Think about your children and grandchildren. Because of what happened today, they will grow up in a country that values its own people first. They will inherit a nation where the rule of law actually means something, where fairness isn't just a fairy tale. That is the legacy we are building right now. It is a legacy of strength, of courage, and of unyielding love for America. I have to tell you, my heart is just bursting with pride. I am proud of the Republicans who stood tall. I am proud of the citizens who never stopped demanding justice. But most of all, I am proud of our president. He has taken hit after hit, insult after insult, and yet he is still standing, still fighting, still winning for us. When I look at the American flag tonight, it looks a little different to me. The colors seem sharper. The stars seem brighter. It's like the fabric itself knows that it is being defended again. We aren't just observers of history today. Folks, we are participants. We are the movement that saved America. And as we head into the final moments of this broadcast, I want you to hold on to that feeling. Hold on to the joy, the relief, and the overwhelming sense of victory. Because you earned it. We all did. As we come to the end of this broadcast, I want you to take a deep breath. Do you feel that? It feels lighter, doesn't it? The air feels cleaner. That is the feeling of freedom. It is the feeling of a promise kept. We started this day anxious, wondering if the swamp would win again, but we are ending it with a victory so big, so pure, that it will be written in the history books for centuries. I want you to look at your children tonight. Kiss them on the forehead. Tell them that today, their country got a little bit safer. Tell them that today, their leaders decided that they matter more than foreign interests. We are leaving them a legacy of strength. We are handing them a torch that burns brighter than it has in a long, long time. And it is all because you didn't give up. You kept the faith. You kept praying, and God answered those prayers. President Trump often says, the best is yet to come. Sometimes it was hard to believe that, but tonight I believe it with every fiber of my being. We have turned the corner. The America First train has left the station, and there is no stopping it now. We are going to secure our borders. We are going to rebuild our cities. We are going to bring our jobs home, and we are going to do it all with a smile on our faces and love in our hearts, because we know we are on the right side of history. This isn't the end of the fight, friends. Oh no, the swamp is deep, and there is still work to do, but we know how to win now. We have the blueprint, and we have the greatest leader God ever gave this nation back in the White House. So dry those tears of joy, stand up straight, and be proud. You are an American, and today, that means everything. If this broadcast touched your heart, if you felt that swell of pride today, I need you to do one thing for me. I need you to hit that subscribe button. I need you to like this video and share it with everyone you know. We are building an army of truth here at Harlan Reports, and we need every single patriot on the line. Don't let the mainstream media hide this victory. Help me spread the word. Help me tell the world that America is back. Thank you for watching. Thank you for loving this country. God bless you. God bless President Trump. And may God forever bless the United States of America. This is Harlan, signing off. I'll see you tomorrow.